What I was experiencing was almost like a oneness with nature. I could smell everything, see everything, all of my senses were turned on. I felt as if I was one with everything. I could see water crystals on the tips of the needles of the redwoods. I could feel the sense of wind moving through me. I could hear the ocean waves. And there was a kind of like this opening, and I heard this voice, and I believe it was my voice, like my spirit asking, do you want to go further or do you want to go back? And it was instantaneous. My answer was, I just want to go back. I want to go back. My name is Tyler, and I had a near-death experience in 1997. I was going to college in Northern California. It was a college called Humboldt State University at the time, and in a little tiny town. And I was, this was the second year in college, and I was my first time away from home. And I wasn't having a great college experience, I could say. You could say I was very depressed. And the thing that brought me relief and brought me kind of back to balance would be going into the redwood forest and going mountain biking and basically being in nature. It was close to the ocean, so I would go to the ocean as well. But I was really a depressed kid. And so I got to the point where I believed in my reality and my circumstances that, nobody liked me, that there was something wrong with me. And I just became very, very sensitive to those thoughts and to this idea that there was something wrong with me and I didn't deserve, or I didn't deserve to be on this planet, on this earth plane. And so I began to talk to God because I had developed a relationship with God beforehand. And I would say, I don't want to be here. I can't be on this planet anymore. Please take me. Please. I just can't be here. And so it was the end of my second year. I think it was about 4 days after the end of the semester. And I had said, okay, I can't do this anymore. Please just take me. And then I went mountain biking one morning, like I had just about every morning. This morning wasn't unusual in that sense, and it was on my way back to the place where I was living. I was out into the forest maybe a couple hours, and then I came down. I came down a hill, and I was very used to taking the jumps. I had never worn a helmet. It wasn't like I had done it competitively, so I didn't think, oh, I don't need a helmet. And I was very familiar with the jumps, and I was going down the hill, and I hit the last jump. And in the moment that I hit the last jump, that second, I had known that somebody had actually built up the jump in such a way that wasn't familiar to my body. And when I hit it, I was like, oh, I'm dead. I'm gonna die. And so the jump was really built up very high. So I flew into the air, and I came down on my front tire, and then it was my head that hit. And then I flipped around my neck and my back, and it was like a thump on my back. And that's when I was completely knocked out in that moment. The next thing I remember is I was me, as much as I knew myself to be as spirit, was floating above the redwood trees. And the redwood trees, as many people know, are very, very tall trees. And I was floating above these trees. I was in this space of almost like, I felt like a ball of energy, but a ball doesn't really describe it. I wasn't in a body. It was just me as spirit floating above these trees. And what I was experiencing was almost like a oneness with nature. I could smell everything, see everything, all of my senses were turned on. I felt as if I was one with everything. I could see the little tiny crystals of water crystals on the tips of the needles of the redwoods. I could hear animals making noises like birds chirping and dogs barking, but it felt like they were a part of me. I could feel the sense of wind moving through me. I could hear the ocean waves. Everything was happening at once, and I felt like I was a part of that, and I felt very at peace in this place. I don't know what time is. I didn't know what time was in that space, but I felt like there was a moment when I had looked down and I saw my body laying there on the ground with, my mountain bike to the side, and I was kind of twisted, and I was thinking, oh, well, that's the body that I inhabited in this, this incarnation. That's my body. And there was a kind of like this opening, and I heard this voice, and I believe it was my voice, like my spirit asking, do you want to go further or do you want to go back? And it was instantaneous. My answer was, I just want to go back. I want to go back. And as soon as I said that, I was back in my body. I could feel all the pain in my body from the accident. I wasn't fully conscious, but I was very aware of the pain in my body at that moment. My breathing was heavy as I was coming back into my body. It was like my spirit was coming back into my body. There was a rush of blood. I could feel all this electrical pain moving through my back and my arms and my legs, but I couldn't really move at all. And I began to open my eyes. And when I began to open my eyes, I saw fairies, little fairies with wings coming down from the trees and around me. And they were all over, dive bombing me and giggling. And they were like being very playful. It was almost like, life is about being playful. That's what I was feeling. And it's okay. Like, it's okay to be here. And I also heard at that time, as all these fairies were around, I could feel and hear this vibration, this humming. And I knew that it was the trees. It was the trees, I want to say like a sound frequency, that they were all connected and they were moving this frequency, this energy into my body. And so this was happening for a while, I guess. And then I became also aware of the pain in my body as this was happening simultaneously. And so that pain became almost too much. And then it's like my consciousness I shut off again. The next thing I remember, I woke up in the hospital there in the town, and there was a doctor. He was looking over me and he was asking me questions, and first thing he said is, I can't believe that you survived, that you're alive. You didn't break any bones, but you're alive. And he started to ask me questions, and of course I didn't really I couldn't answer these questions because I had hit my head so hard. He was asking me what my name was, where I went, if I went to school there at the local university, if, even if I was like a man or a woman. I couldn't answer these things. And finally he asked me, is there any phone number or anybody in town that we can call? Because I didn't have anything on me. And so I blurted out a number, and the number was of a family friend. They were friends of my parents, actually. And so I had just blurted out their number, and they came and got me that night. I was in a lot of pain for quite a long time, but when they took me back to their place, I remember just laying there and not really knowing how to communicate, but at the same time feeling deeply, like I could feel the worry and the fear of my parents, and I could feel it of my sister, like, is Tyler okay? And I didn't know any way to communicate other than I was writing to them and letting them know, the family friends, like, can you just let them know? And they had, of course. But so eventually my mom came and got me and flew me back up to Washington State, where I was raised. And Yeah, so that's like the bulk of my story, and then it took me about 9 months to physically heal the neurological, neuromuscular damage that happened in my body, and to get my memory back, which actually took me a long time as well. And I had some help from some people that helped me with that. There was one message: just find a way every day to enjoy your life, and somehow give that enjoyment away. So find a way that you can enjoy your life, and then find a way to give that away as well to others.